On the workbench today sits a very familiar object, an ordinary paintbrush. At first glance, there's nothing special about it. It was made simply to spread paint or add a few strokes of color to a wall. But in the world of DIY, interesting ideas often begin with simple things like this. The bristles may already be worn out, yet the wooden handle is still sturdy, straight, and comfortable to hold. And that's exactly what I need. In this video, I'm going to use that small wooden handle as the main body for a homemade antenna device. Next, I have a small L-shaped right-angle bracket. It's a simple piece of hardware, but very useful when assembling things. I'll attach this bracket to the wooden handle of the paintbrush. With its solid right angle, it will make the next assembly steps easier and more precise. This is a set of bolts and nuts. Small pieces like these appear in almost every mechanical assembly. Even though they are not large, they play an important role in joining and securing different parts together. In this project, I'll use a set of bolts and nuts to tighten and hold the components firmly in place, helping the whole structure stay stable and neatly assembled. At this point, I will add a signal receiving component. I'll use a plastic bottle cap combined with the head of a mesh racket to create this part. It may sound surprising, but I can use the head of a mesh racket as a signal dish for this homemade antenna device. If you look closely, its round shape and mesh surface resemble the structure of a small signal dish. This surface area can help capture and concentrate signals more effectively than a simple antenna rod alone. When combined with the other parts of the system, the racket head can act as a supporting component that helps collect and direct signals, allowing the device to work more steadily. In many DIY projects, simply looking at familiar objects from a different perspective can lead to surprisingly practical solutions. The type of wire I'm using for this antenna device is a single electrical wire with a core made of many small copper strands twisted together. Thanks to this multi-strand structure, the wire is flexible and easy to handle when bending, connecting, or fitting it into different parts of the device. This makes it much easier to link the important components together, while also providing a stable path for signal transmission throughout the homemade antenna system. Most people are probably familiar with this 2x2 electrical connector. It's a small component, but very convenient for joining electrical wires. In this project, I'll use it to connect the remaining ends of the two wires to the coaxial cable. With this connector, the connection becomes neat, secure, and much easier to adjust if needed. It can be very helpful to use hot glue to secure the small but important parts. This type of glue adheres well to many surfaces and keeps the components from shifting during assembly. As a result, the smaller pieces stay neatly and firmly in place, helping the entire device remain stable. This is a coaxial cable. This type of cable is commonly used in signal transmission systems, such as antennas, television setups, and radio equipment. Thanks to its special structure, with a central conductor surrounded by protective shielding, a coaxial cable can transmit signals quite steadily while reducing interference from the surrounding environment. In this project, the coaxial cable will serve as a connection between the homemade antenna device and the signal receiver, helping the signal travel more effectively and reliably. And to make the connection to the TV easier, I will attach a straight F connector and a 90-degree F connector. These connectors make it much more convenient to connect the coaxial cable to the receiving device. The 90-degree F connector is especially useful in tight spaces, allowing the cable to bend naturally without sharp angles and helping the signal transmission remain stable. And don't forget to use electrical insulating tape to cover any exposed electrical points. It may seem like a small step, but it's very important for protecting the connections and preventing the wires from being left exposed. This helps keep the joints neat while also improving safety and ensuring the system works more reliably. All right, the homemade antenna device is now fully assembled. All the components have been secured in place, and it's ready to work. Now I'm going to take it outside. and after testing it in real conditions, the results are actually quite surprising. Even though this entire device was built from very simple items like a paintbrush handle, a mesh racket head, a few bolts, some electrical wire, and a piece of coaxial cable, its signal reception is fairly stable. The picture comes through clearly, and the signal remains quite steady during use. It shows that a useful device doesn't always need to be complicated or expensive. One of the most enjoyable parts of DIY projects like this is turning ordinary objects into something that actually works. With a bit of observation, a little creativity, and a few careful assembly steps, simple everyday items can become a practical solution. Hopefully this small project gives you another interesting idea to try. And who knows, the familiar objects sitting around your workspace might just become the starting point for your next useful DIY project.